and welcome back, my fairies. I am Matsurific, and we are back with episode 21 of Season 5, Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, Confrontation. Oh my goodness, we're finally getting new episodes, and although I guess I really shouldn't say finally because we were supposed to be getting episodes in July, and then TF1 decided to pull a gloop and it's like, actually, we want to air the episodes first. We're going to release them in May. So now TF1 is giving us 2 episodes this weekend. And I think I heard somewhere that we're getting 2 episodes next weekend as well. Don't quote me on that. I might be mistaken. But yeah, for those of you who are new to this channel, first of all, welcome. In order to avoid copyright, I put... I cannot talk. In order to avoid copyright, I like to draw on the side here. So I hope you enjoy this piece. This should be a picture that I'm drawing for What If Adrian Had a Twin Sister, which is a series that we do here. This is a villain, an original villain that's going to be coming up, Soccer Mom, who's based off of the typical Karen entitled parent, and I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you guys are too. I'm almost done with the artwork for that, so look forward to that. If you aren't familiar, then there is a playlist that you can watch all 5 parts that are out right now. So hopefully I'll have that out soon for you guys. But yeah, so what we know so far about the episode, we did a trailer review, which for me it was just yesterday, for you guys it'll be 2 days ago. But so we know that Sabrina is going to get locked in the closet by Chloe and Lila, and it looks like Chloe's going to be taking away the whistle that that was addressed in a previous episode. I was watching, all the episodes have been out of order, so I don't remember which episode it was. But it was the one where she got akumatized into Miracular. I think that was episode 18, because it was the episode right before the Diamond Dance. But anyways, so yeah, that was the episode that Zoe confessed her feelings to Marinette. And we learned that there's this whistle that Sabrina has that's supposed to be like a representation of her friendship with Chloe. And Chloe threatened to take it from her that episode. And that was the akumatized object. But yeah, that was the whole thing. I even said in my review of that episode that Sabrina seems like she's about done. There was also the scene at the end of episode 14 where she did not seem all that happy when Adrian came over to confront Chloe, telling her that she needs to apologize to Marinette, and she does the whole, oh well, I'm not gonna apologize to that Baker girl because she's beneath me, and I don't know, and you're ridiculous for choosing her over me. And Sabrina gave her that look of not really agreeing with Chloe here. So there have been signs throughout this season that Sabrina is about at her breaking point. She's seeing how toxic Chloe is, and to the point where Chloe even tried to get her to break the law. And so I'm really hoping that this will be the episode where Sabrina finally says that she's done with it. We've also seen the trailer for episode 22, where we see that Sabrina has actually changed seats. So, very, very good chance that this will be the episode where Sabrina says, I am done with Chloe. And there's also something going on in the trailer where we see them using this shield that purifies an Akuma. And one thing I forgot to mention in my review of that trailer was that we actually did see that a long time ago. I just completely spaced on it till after I put that review out. So yeah, that's something that we've been expecting for a while. And also, there's a possibility that Mr. Damocles could end up getting fired this episode. Because in the trailer for episode 22, we see Miss Mandaleev in his office, in his chair, which I won't get into because that's next episode. But yeah, there's a chance that he could get fired this episode, so we will see. I'm really hoping that by the end of the season, Andre puts a stop to Chloe's entitlement, recognizing that, you know, Zoe is kind of like the better daughter, the better behaved daughter. Is like, oh, this is how a daughter should act. Maybe I am spoiling Chloe too much because, you know, the way that, you know, it's, because I don't want Chloe to abuse Zoe anymore. You know, she shouldn't be allowed to do that. She's her sister, not her slave. And, you know, I need to put a stop to this. And we have been seeing Andre starting to side less with Chloe and put up less with her entitlement. So I don't know if that's going to happen this episode. But that's something I just want to see in general this season. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling and go watch the episode, and I will be right back. Alright, so this was definitely an interesting episode, though I will say that there was definitely a bit too much packed into this episode, which definitely messed with the timing, because after Julica gets akumatized, it's literally 2 minutes. It's just, oh, Marinette and Adrian sneak out to transform. Ladybug uses her lucky charm. They quickly rush through setting up her plan, and then they manage to drag Reflecta in. It's like, there's pretty much, it's like half the city's been transformed into Reflecta. How did they know which one was her? But anyways, I should probably talk about the beginning of the episode first. So, the episode starts off with Adrian and Plague. They're trying to fill out Adrian's form for what he wants to do after middle school, once, you know, what he wants to do when he grows up. I seriously think that he should be a therapist, because he's been doing, you know, even though Marinette needs a real therapist, he's still been doing a good job helping her. But like, they're also concerned is like, you know, he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he also doesn't want to lie on the form too, because he knows that he, you know, no matter what he chooses, he's still not going to be able to go to the same school as everyone else next year. But he doesn't want to break Marinette's heart by letting her know that. So that's all going on. Then we see Marinette is worried about handing these files over to Chloe and Lila, because she knows that they're untrustworthy and that they could end up screwing everybody's files over, which she even confesses to, or she confides that in Tiki and then later Adrian after he joins her in the library. That, you know, she's worried that something's going to happen. She has a really bad feeling about it. And it turns out that she was right. So before that, I just want to go over, like, the jobs that everybody had. Like, we already knew that Alia wanted to be a reporter. But then we also find out that Mylène, like, she doesn't really say anything specific about what she wants to do, just that basically she's just, you know, trying to make a positive force in the world. I mean, for, like, you know, environmentalist and everything. Honestly, she should really just say she wants to be an environmentalist. And then Ivan, interestingly enough, says that he's just going to be a stay-at-home dad for when he and Mylène get married, and he'll watch the kids while Mylène's out saving the world. And it's like, aw, that's cute that they're already talking about marriage. Like, aw, oh, they're so cute. They were the first couple in the show too, because they got together at the very start of the year, so it's like, they're adorable. They really are. I love Ivan and Mylène. They're so cute. Rose seems like she's gonna be a hairstylist. She keeps saying for, like, fantasy creatures like unicorns and dragons, but each time she expresses an interest in being a hairstylist, which would be pretty cool. Julica says that she wants to be a mortician. It's like, I kind of wish that they had said that she wanted to be a model as a callback to Reflect All, where, you know, she says that she wants to be a model and, you know, Luca's encouraging her to being a model. And then we get Chloe, who's like, I'm already rich, so I don't need to work. And then Lila, of course, lies very openly to Marinette because it's just the two of them. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna bring peace to the world, and I'm gonna, fix everything that's wrong with the world and make free candy for everybody. It's like so generic that there's like no real aspiration there at all. And Marinette tries to call her out on that. She's like, well, I could have also put that I want to be your best friend, but we both know that's not gonna happen. And it's like, dang. Yeah. Hate that girl so much. Love to hate her. And we also learn, I really liked Sabrina's. We find out that Sabrina actually wants to be a nurse, which is interesting. Like, she even mentions that the reason she wants to be a nurse is because she loves looking after people. And it's like, that actually makes a lot of sense for her character with how she's always looking after Chloe and taking care of Chloe. It's like, yeah, she does kind of act like a home assistant nurse when it comes to like taking care of the elderly or just, someone who can't take care of themselves. So yeah, that actually does work out for Sabrina. I kind of like that. That's actually really cool that she wants to be a nurse. But then Marinette hands over all the paperwork to Chloe and Lila, and they then go back to Chloe's, and they sit Sabrina in the closet and tell her that, they shred everybody's papers and tell Sabrina to forge new paperwork that has nothing to do with what everybody wants to do. And so that they can blame it all on Marinette. And Sabrina, tries to stand up for herself and says, this is illegal. I don't want to do this. This is something you could go to jail for. And she even starts blowing her whistle. And that's why Chloe takes the whistle away from her to stop her from blowing the whistle. Which is funny because, she is actually being a whistleblower later on. But I'll get to that in a bit. Because a whistleblower is someone who's like, hey, this is going on, and I know what's going on, so I'm going to reveal to everyone what exactly is going on so that these people don't get away with their illegal activity. But, anyways, they tell Sabrina to forge all this paperwork, and they do manage to force her to do so. They lock her in the closet until she finishes, and Chloe threatens to not return the whistle until she finishes. And then we get Mr. Damocles finding the resistance that's meeting in the boiler room. This is a completely different scene. And he seems like really happy seeing that they're banding together, that they're being forming this resistance against Hawkmoth. So he leaves them alone. And ends up talking to Miss Mendeleev, who thinks it's suspicious that the kids are all down there, and he manages to cover for them. It's like, oh, I asked them to go down there because I heard reports about there being rats down there. Miss Mendeleev manages to accept it, but then she says a line of, stuff like this wouldn't happen if I was the principal, which was a really good bluff. I'll give them that, because I really thought that Mr. Damocles was going to get fired because of something Chloe did. And then we get this scene, and I legitimately said, is he getting fired because Miss Mendeleev does something to get him fired? But we'll get to that because that's at the end of the episode. So, yeah, during the actual meeting, they're talking about how Adrian doesn't know what he wants to do, and, they're trying to figure out, how they can make sure that Adrian is still going to go to the same school as them. Nathaniel is the only one that doesn't sound like he's going to go to the same school as everyone else, because he wants to go to an art school, which makes a lot of sense for him. It'll be really sad, though, that we don't get to see him in season 6 when they're in high school. But at the same time, since Mark is a grade lower than them, having Nathaniel not be at school when Mark also is in that school, it's like, we would miss Mark way more often if Nathaniel was around than without Nathaniel around. So I could see that. But they're trying to make sure that everyone else will be able to go to the same school in high school so that Adrian will be able to go to classes with them. And Adrian still doesn't have the heart to tell them that he's not going to be able to go to the same school as them next year because he's getting sent off. Oh my goodness, poor boy. But they decide that, they're gonna try to figure something else out so they can stay together. At first they're like, oh, well, we could form a strike to let them know we don't want to fill out these forms, but then they're reminded that they've already filled out the forms, so that's not going to work. Then Adrian comes back with his folder to give to Marinette, because, which doesn't really have much in it, just a little letter saying that I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do know that I love Marinette and I want to be with her, which is super sweet. But then she hands the folder off to Chloe and Lila, who read through Adrian's note, and then they just toss that in the toilet. Chloe. And they tell Sabrina to forge something like that again. So then Chloe and Lila go to the teachers' meeting, and they start presenting these forms and the first one is Alia wanting to be an optometrist, and Miss Boustier's like, wait, hold on a second, there's gotta be a mistake here, because I'm pretty sure Alia wants to be a reporter. But then Lila's like, oh, well, she likes helping people to see clearly, and that's what an optometrist does. It's like, okay. Mr. Damocles is even concerned about that as well. But then Miss Mandalay is like, well, her grades support it, so let's just put it in. And then the next one comes up for Julika, and hers says that she wants to repeat a year. And that's where they reveal that Julika was actually held back, which, when you think about it, makes sense with Luca not being at their school. At this point, I'm ready to chalk up Luca being in Zoe's class when they introduced Zoe to her class in Queen Banana, or not Queen Banana, in Soul Crusher. I'm willing to chalk that up to an animation error, but I know that I saw Luca in the background of that episode, so yeah. But that, assuming that was an animation error, that would explain why Luca's not around, because he didn't get held back like Julika did. So, and Mr. Damocles actually is really sad that, Julika is asking to be held back a year. And then Miss Mandalay again is like, well, her grades support it, so we could just hold her back. It's like, are you saying that her grades are bad enough to be held back? Because if that's the case, then why would that even be a question? If her grades are that bad, then yeah, you're gonna hold her back. But if her grades aren't bad enough to be held back, then that shouldn't be something that they could do. But anyways, we get back to the class, and we learn more about some of the other jobs that people had, like Max's swim instructor, and Kim's like, "Are you sure that you didn't get mine?" I forget what Kim's was. Rose is a minister of the interior. She has no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's some sort of political pursuit. And then Julika breaks down at the thought of repeating a grade and not being able to go to school with all of her friends. Which, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that doesn't make sense. Because if Julika was held back a year, then why was she in their class during the flashback that took place the previous year? Unless they're saying that she was held back a previous year. I guess that could be it, that she was held back in a different grade, but that's also a bit of a don't think they thought that one through. But Juleka is very upset, thinking that she won't be able to go to school with the rest of her friends, which then causes Monarch to akumatize her. And how he knows to give her the power of the tiger, I have no idea. But she gets akumatized. 10 minutes into the episode, she gets akumatized. And then they went through all the motions like I said before, and 2.5 minutes later, they deakumatize her. The plan was, like, get the Juleka Reflecta and another Reflecta to follow them down an alley that they have set things up to make it look like it's actually separated by a wall. So then Ladybug and Cat Noir are on opposite sides of the fake wall so that they punch each other. It's like, and how did they know that that was the right Reflecta? If any of the Reflectas would be able to change, then again, I guess that makes sense. They just go for whichever one is turning other people into Reflectas, because I think it is only Reflecta that can make people turn into other Reflectas, but it's still like, how did you know that it was this one specifically? Like, it's very, very iffy. I don't like that. It's like, I'm calling Trubbish on that one, because it was 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes it took for them to deakumatize Reflecta. And it's like, that was just so fast. Actually, no, I take that back. It was 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes. 2:10 is when she gets transformed, and 2:17 is when Ladybug purifies the Akuma. It's like, that is the fastest anybody's been deakumatized in this series. Like, my gosh, that was fast. But then they manage to deakumatize Juleka. She gets another magical charm, which I'm not going to call useless this time around, and we'll see why in a bit. And then we get back into the classroom where they're trying to figure out what exactly happened to everyone's forms. And they're like, well, Marinette, what's it yours say? And she's like, oh, well, mine still says I want to be a designer. And then Chloe just immediately jumps on and is like, ha, that proves you're the villain who changed everybody's forms. And everybody's like, wait, what? Which causes Lila to kick her. It's like, that's way too soon. You're jumping the gun with that. And then she tries to cover it and be like, oh, Marinette, it's like, why would you do this to your friends? Are you that mad? Is this revenge for them voting me to be class representative? And for you not to be representative anymore? And it's like, the story is so rushed and flimsy, which is supposed to be like a sign that this is like, that there's something wrong here. Which Lila knows that this is gonna be really hard to pull off thanks to Chloe jumping the gun the way that she did. And the Marinette points out, like, how would I have even done that? She's like, by forging the paperwork. She's like, well, I don't know how to forge paperwork, but Sabrina does. So then everyone looks at Sabrina, and Lila's like, oh my gosh, Sabrina, did Marinette force you to do this? And Sabrina's like, yes, I did do it. I was forced to do it. I'm so sorry. And they're like, oh my gosh, why would Marinette force you to do this? I'm so sorry, but don't worry. We don't blame you because it was Marinette's fault. And then Sabrina's like, no, it wasn't Marinette. You made me do this. And I have proof. Which then gets Chloe and Sabrina feeling a little nervous because they're still trying to play it off as Marinette is trying to force her to do this. But then Sabrina runs off crying, and Chloe runs after her, calling her a traitor. Like, that wasn't the real plan. It's like, basically confessing to the fact that they're behind this. And then Lila runs after them because they're both ruining her plan. And they run down to this, I kind of want to call it a porta potty, but it's like got multiple stalls. Because we see earlier in the episode that the girls' bathroom is under construction. So they can't so they can't go in there, and there's like this separate bathroom set up for them that can be easily torn down and put back up. So they run into the porta bathroom, is what I'll just call it, and they're like trying to get Sabrina to tell them, what proof she has that they did this, so that that they'll forgive her if she hands it over, and that if she doesn't, then they'll manipulate her dad into like getting her arrested or fired or whatever. And that's when Sabrina reveals that she didn't have any proof, and she presses a button which drops the walls down of the porta bathroom, and you see everyone else was watching through a one-way mirror, which is what they use in police stations. You got, if you're in the interrogation room, then you've got this mirror set up. And on the inside it looks like a mirror, but on the outside it's actually a window and people can look in on it. And Sabrina reveals that everyone was watching and listening just now and heard Lila confess to everything, confessing to the fact that they were forcing Sabrina to do this, that she was threatening Sabrina if she revealed any more, and also confessing to the fact that she lied about Marinette pushing her down the stairs before. She's like, I still have everyone convinced that Marinette pushed me down the stairs. I'll do all this stuff to you if you betray us. And that's when Sabrina reveals everything. And they revealed that after Sabrina got locked in the closet, she called Marinette crying, asking for help. So Marinette came with the idea of setting up this trap so that they could all hear Chloe and Lila confess to everything with their own mouths. So Mr. Damocles talks to Lila, Chloe, Marinette, and Miss Bustier in his office, and also talking to Andre over the Alliance. And Andre basically tells Mr. Damocles that he's to cover this up, that he is to keep all of the files as they are, and that it doesn't matter that all of these students' futures are going to be ruined. But then we also cut into the office and see that this is not Andre's decision, it's Audrey's decision. She is threatening Andre to threaten Mr. Damocles, so that Chloe and Lila will not be expelled and can continue to stay in school, and that if Mr. Damocles does expel them and changes the paperwork, then he's going to have Mr. Damocles fired. And that causes Mr. Damocles to break down, and he almost gets akumatized. And again, this is all Audrey being like, if you do this, and it's like, you don't do this and you're fired. So basically, like, she's gonna divorce him. But it's like, honestly, he could do better than her. She doesn't deserve to be a wife or a mother. She is the absolute worst. Oh, there's a reason why I listed her at the very bottom when I did that video. If you haven't seen it, I released a video ranking all of the parents in Miraculous by their parenting skill. And yeah, I highly recommend that. I talk more about my feelings towards Audrey in that video. But yeah, she is the worst. She is the worst. So then, I guess Alia was in the room as well. Just noticed that. But then, as they're trying to prevent Mr. Damocles from getting akumatized, Marinette notices that the magical charm in his pocket is starting to glow, and that it's reacting to, I think it was roses? Because I remember seeing, I don't know why it might have been Sabrina's, but it was reacting to someone else's magical charm, and she noticed that the two are reacting to each other. So she has Miss Bustier kick out Chloe and Lila and bring the rest of the class in so that they can all pull out their magical charms and reaffirm Mr. Damocles keep him from getting akumatized, and it actually works. Not only does it work, but that's when the magical charm transforms. It becomes larger and turns into the shield that we saw in the trailer. Which, again, I kind of have to call Trubbish on this, because just earlier in the episode, Julika was about to get akumatized, and everybody else was trying to reassure her and trying to get her to not be akumatized, but nobody's magical charms were glowing in that moment. So this really is coming out of the blue. I have to say, I'm really disappointed with how poorly this episode has been executed, because the rest of season 5 has been so strong. I think this is probably my least favorite episode of the season, which is a shame because it's such an important episode. But Mr. Damocles manages not to get akumatized. Also, Adrian snuck off to transform into Cat Noir, so Cat Noir is there, just in case. But they managed for him not to get akumatized, and now Cat Noir has an excuse to be able to tell Ladybug all this, because like, oh yeah, I was there as Cat Noir. No, I wasn't there because I was a student there. No, I was just there because I was Cat Noir, and I thought something like this might be happening. So yeah, so yeah, he's there as Cat Noir, as witness to all this, so that he can tell everything to Ladybug later. And Mr. Damocles decides that he's going to do what's best for the students, and he decides to go ahead and fix everybody's files, and that if he's gonna get fired, he's gonna get fired doing the right thing. So he requests they all fill out new forms, and he cleans out his office and gets ready to leave. And as sad as it is that Mr. Damocles is leaving, I actually have a theory about this. I'm suspecting that this might have been done on purpose so that we could get Mr. Damocles to be the principal at their high school once they move on to high school in season 6. Because it's the end of the school year right now in season 5, so they're getting ready to start high school. So I would not be surprised at all if Mr. Damocles winds up being staff at the high school, possibly the principal, maybe even vice principal if they decide to actually show principal and vice principal, showing more than just 1 or 2 classes. Well, really, it's more like 1.5 classes at the school, because Francois Dupont has 4 grades. It's a middle school, and middle schools in France have 4 grades. We've only seen 2 classes. But anyways, so Mr. Damocles packs his stuff up after fixing everybody's files so that the students' futures aren't ruined. And then we get Cat Noir telling Ladybug what happened, and Ladybug's like, so that's the true purpose of the magical charms. It's like, they've done so well this season. If this was their plan, why couldn't they allude to this before, showing the magical charms glowing? Like, this was so rushed and forced, and it's like, I don't like this episode. This is absolutely the worst writing in season 5. It's like, why did they have to do this to us? This is such an important episode, and I can't enjoy it because of how bad the writing is. I've been spending so much time praising season 5, but I can't praise this episode. I'm sorry. But we do get one last image at the end of everybody meeting, and it looks like they're in the art room, and Mr. Damocles is there as the owl, so at the very least, I think it looks like he's still being allowed into the school so that he can, still interact with the students, but just as the owl. But, yeah. So, oh yeah, there is one other scene at the end. We get an after-credits scene with Miss Bustier talking to Chloe, and Miss Bustier is straight up bossing in this episode. So she meets with Chloe, and it's like, I really hoped that I really did think that there was good in you, and I really hoped that there was a possibility you might change if people reached out to you, kind of expressing how the audience has felt about Chloe. Because, like, a lot of the audience thought that Chloe was going to get redeemed at the beginning there, so it does make sense why Miss Bustier thought that Chloe might improve for the better, especially since Chloe even apologized to her for getting her akumatized into Zombizu. So, yeah, you could definitely understand why, where she'd been coming from. But she tells Chloe that, you know, she's basically giving up on her, but that, you know, from now on she's going to be giving her special extra attention, which is like, you know, because she can't do anything to Chloe, but she will be giving her special extra attention. It's like, that's a really good workaround, because it's like, you can't be fired for trying to give a student attention that they need if they're struggling in school. So it's like, that was actually really clever of her. So it's like, she's gonna make things hard for Chloe, but in a way that she can't be in trouble for it, because she's just doing her job as a teacher. And then after that, after Chloe storms out of the classroom, she gets a call from an unknown number, and it turns out to be Lila, who's telling her the war is only just starting. And then we see Lila remove her hair. It was a wig the entire time. She didn't cut and dye her hair. She just was wearing a wig this entire time. And then she joins up with some other students. And apparently she's also got a whole other life at another school where she's a class representative and stuff. And it's like, wow. Like, we knew that Lila was, you know, tricky with stuff like this, but, like, the students that she walks up to, they honestly look like they're a bit older, too. Lila's outfit is also different as well. Like, it looks like it's the same outfit for the most part, but it's different colors. So her main outfit is purple, and then she's got a brown leather jacket instead of reddish orange. And it's like, dang. So she's got this whole other life that she's been living, which again makes a lot of sense because we've seen all the different moms that she has. So my theory is that the mom that we met on Heroes Day is her actual mother, but then the other two mothers that we've seen are just women that she's tricked into thinking that she's their long lost daughter. Which is like, how do you even do that? Like, how do you know how to find these women that have had daughters that they gave up for whatever reason? It's like, how does she find these people to give them this kind of a lie? Because, like, that's the only way that she'd be able to get away with that, is by finding some woman that had a daughter and then gave her up for either, like, adoption or lost the kid in a divorce and has no custody or anything like that. It's like, those are the only ways that she could get away with that, because, like, you know when you have... It's like, you know when you're a mother, because you go through the pregnancy. If she approached a woman who'd never been pregnant before, or, you know, has been pregnant but all of their children are in their lives, you would know if some random stranger comes up and says they're your long-lost daughter. And on top of that, they would have to be around the same age as Lila, too. They could be a year off or so, but they would still need to be somewhat the same age as Lila for this to work. It's like, how does this even work? But, anyway, so, yeah, looks like Lila is going to continue causing trouble, but under a different name. So it'll be interesting to find out what this new name she's going under will be. And if anyone will even recognize her without the wig. Because, like, you'd think maybe her friends at her other school would have recognized the digital assistant on their alliances looks kind of similar to their friend with the pixie cut. But, anyways, I guess you could chalk it up to the Clark Kent thing. Even though they've never done that before in this show, because it's always, oh, people can't tell who the heroes are because of the masks, they're magic. But Violet's not using magic to disguise herself, she's just using a wig. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. This has already gone pretty long. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos from me. We do all sorts of fun stuff on this channel, including playing video games, we do art, and I'll sometimes talk about cartoons and anime. So if you enjoy yourself, then be sure to ring that bell icon and not miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I hope you all have a very magical day.